Hi, my name is Guido Lavorata. Congratulations on learning how to play the cello. I hope that this video will be very helpful to you. Learning music is like learning another language, the musical language. And just like learning any language, there's vocabulary that you need to learn. In the book Americana Strings, there is a study guide that will help introduce us to some musical vocabulary. A musical staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces, where we count the lines of the staff from the bottom up. First line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. In between those lines are spaces. We count those from the bottom up. First space, second space, third space, fourth space. Now the vertical lines that go through the staff are called bar lines. And these bar lines actually make these rectangles. These rectangles in music are called measures. Measure number 1, measure number 2, measure number 3. Now, the beginning of every song, there'll be a time signature. Some songs will have 2/4, some will have 3/4, some will have 4/4. And later on in the book of Americana Strings, there'll be 6/8 time signature. In this example, we're going to study the 4/4 time signature. The top number 4 says that there is going to be 4 beats in each measure. Our foot will actually tap 4 beats in each measure. The bottom number 4 represents a quarter note. The quarter note will actually be the beat note. That will get 1 count. So every time your foot is tapping the beat, it's actually tapping a quarter note. Now, a quarter note will look like this. Draw a circle and color it in, color it in, color it in. Draw an oval and color it in, and we add a stem for a quarter note. Now, a quarter note could look like this, or it could look like this, upside down. Now, what determines that is if the oval lands on top of the middle line, then the oval will go down, the stem will go down. So on the middle line or above, the stem will go down. Below the middle line, the quarter note stem will go up. Now, if you look over here in our music, you'll see that there are a bunch of quarter notes right here. If we have notes up high on the staff, those are going to be high sounding quarter notes. If we have notes down low on the staff, those are going to be low sounding quarter notes. Now, sometimes we want a very, very high pitched quarter note that we run out of lines of the staff, and we have to add additional lines above the staff to make that high-pitched sound. Those extra lines above the staff are ledger lines. Sometimes we want a very low-sounding quarter note, and in order to make that happen, we run out of lines, so we have to add extra lines below the staff. Those extra lines are also called ledger lines. Now, in order to make a beautiful sound, we need to learn how to hold our bow, how to move our bow, and how to properly place our bow on each string. I like to use the wooden dowel. This is a great tool on learning the techniques of holding the bow, and moving the bow. Now, the first thing we want to learn is how to hold the bow. So, I like to get these 2 middle fingers and place the stick, the bow stick, on the first crease of the 2 middle fingers. I call these 2 fingers the bunny teeth. And the tip of your thumb will press against the bunny teeth, and that is the bunny's mouth. Right there. The knuckle is going to be the bunny chin. Now, we always want the bunny chin bent. We never want the bunny chin flat like that because that will hurt your thumb after a while. So make sure that it's always bent like that. All right, the pointer and the pinky are bunny ears, and they just flop over the stick. Now we'll get our PVC pipe here, and we'll slide the stick. And this is what a nice down bow looks like, and this is what a nice up bow looks like. This is what a down bow sign looks like. This is what an up bow sign looks like. And we want to practice moving our arm like a pendulum. This is what a pendulum looks like on a clock. See this mechanism right here? So our arm will make the same motion as a pendulum. Now just remember, the top of our hand, our wrist, and our forearm should stay on one level. We should never have our wrist bent like that or our wrist bent like this. It should stay on the same level. So our forearm and our hand should make the same motion of the pendulum. Never do we want to pull our elbow back, because that will make our bow crooked, our wooden dowel crooked. Okay, so repetition review will make learning permanent. So what we want to do is we want to go through the first 3 songs of Americana strings using our wooden dowels. So with this piece, the 4-string warm-up, we are going to learn the letters of the strings. We're going to learn the angle of each bow that's required to play that string. You'll see upside down dashes. Those upside down dashes mean that you are going to stop your bow. You're not going to move your bow. You'll actually start playing right here where it says C. So the first step we're going to do in reading is developing good reading skills, is we want to make sure we're going to move our eyes left to right on each line, and we're going to say the bow directions for each note. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. When you come here, these upside down dashes, that means you're going to stop your bow. In this here, these 2 measures, the violin and the basses will play here. And then when you come to the end, these 2 dots, I like to call them eyes. These 2 eyes are looking at these 2 eyes. These are repeat signs. And you play it all again, and you'll end the song. The next song is our face-off. So your partner will start, and then you will echo. Partner, you echo. At measure 5, your partner's going to go down, up, rest, rest. And then you'll echo. This squiggly symbol is a quarter rest. When you come to a rest, your bow is going to stop. Your bow will not move on any rest. So you're going to go G, G, rest, rest, G, G, rest, rest. Okay? So now, our third song is leaping bows. First, say the bow directions. Down, up, down, rest, up, rest. Down, up, down, stop your bow. Up, stop your bow. Down, stop your bow. Up, stop your bow. Down, stop your bow. Up, stop your bow. Go back and say the letter names. G, 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 rest. G, rest. D, 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 rest. D, rest. Now, while you're saying the letters, you are memorizing them, actually. At the very bottom here, we have an answer key. Make sure to identify the letter names of the notes. When you come to the squiggly symbol right here, make sure you write quarter rest. So repetition and review will make learning permanent. Now, let's get our real bow. And you'll see, this is the cello bow. And you'll see there is a bend to the cello bow. And there's an adjusting screw. Now, I would really highly recommend that you look at my YouTube video called String Instrument Care. In that video, I go through all the parts of the bow, and I also go through all the parts of the instrument. And all the string instrument have the similar parts. So you could look at that YouTube video and learn the parts of your bow, learn how to care for your bow, and learn how to care for your instrument. So let's, this adjusting screw, face it towards you. We're gonna go righty-tighty while you are turning the adjusting screw to the right. You'll notice that the horsehair is stretching away from the stick. This top part is called the stick. And how far should you go? Enough for there to be a pinky distance from the top of the horsehair to the stick, okay? Please never have any of your little brothers or sisters rub their hands on the horsehair, or please don't you rub your hands on the horsehair as well, because your hands have oils, and if the oils get on your horsehair, the rosin will not stick. Rosin is a sticky substance that once you rub across, it makes the horsehair sticky that will grip the strings. If oils are on your hands, it'll have a slip in the bow, and your bow will slip, and then it will grab, and it'll slip, and it'll grab, and it doesn't make for fun playing. So when you apply this, you'll see that this is a brand new rosin. Don't rub your fingers on it. You don't want to get oils from your fingers on the rosin. So you just make little short strokes going back and forth on your bow, back and forth, and then make a long stroke going down, a long stroke going up. You'll see that the shiny is going away. You don't ever need to scratch your rosin. Some students will scratch their rosin, they will pit it so deep that the rosin will crack. I don't recommend scratching your rosin. If you just take little short strokes going down, short strokes going back and forth, going up, then do one long and several long, you'll see that the rosin is coming off just fine without digging into it, okay? So make sure you put it away, be very careful. You don't want to drop your rosin, it will crack. Okay, so now we want to use our bow for the same 3 songs that we just did our wooden dowels with. So I'm going to put my bow down. I hope I don't lose my bow. I'm going to put my bow down in a safe place, and I'm going to show you how to hold the cello. Make sure that the adjusting screw, the end pin screw is loose so that the end pin moves freely. What we want to do now is this. You'll notice that this is a C bout. We want to make sure that the bottom point of the C bout goes against the left knee, and the right knee goes underneath the C bout, right about like here. Now the top part of this edge, this is the upper bout, the top part of this edge will go against the sternum. Now the sternum will look like this. The sternum is the center of where the ribs connect to. At the base of the sternum is where our upper edge of the upper bout will go against. So you want to make sure your left knee's against this point, your right knee's below this point, and see, this is the C tuning peg. The C tuning peg is behind your head, below your ear lobe. Now, while you have your cello in this position, okay, have your teacher or someone pull the end pin out so that it touches the floor, okay, and then have someone tighten that for you. Now, if you're on a floor, on a tile floor, your end pin may slip, so you might want to use a cello strap like this to keep your end pin from sliding. If you're on a carpet, of course, you won't need that. Okay, so feel you are very comfortable now. If this point is bothering your knee, you could put a cloth over it, but you kind of get used to it after a while. Okay, now I could play pizzicato. Or I could also play with my bow. But wait a minute, where's my bow? Does anybody know where my bow is?
Doggy, doggy, where's your bow? Somebody found it in your home. Doggy, doggy, where's your bow? Somebody found it in your home. Here is your bow.
Thank you for finding my bow. Now we could use our bow. Now remember I told you how to hold your bow with the bunny teeth? I'm going to show you a new way to hold your bow. Doggy paw. Flop your doggy paw over the bow. Make sure your thumb is bent. If you could do this little game of the doorbell. Press your thumb knuckle down. That's ding, dong, ding, dong. We want to make sure that our thumb is always stuck on dong, not ding, because ding is your thumb is too flattened out and it will hurt, okay? So make sure doggy paw, just another analogy that you could picture in your mind in holding the bow, okay? Doggy paw, flop your doggy paw over. Bend thumb. Your thumb is bent between the winding and the frog. There's a little notch right there. That's where your thumb is bent. The ring finger over the silver ring. Okay, and that would be a doggy paw bow hold. Thank you for finding my bow. Okay, now we could start playing all the same 3 songs that we did in Americana strings. We could start using our bow, playing the same 3 songs. So we have our 4-string warm-up, and we're going to angle our bow on the C string. And this is a down bow. Down bow looks like that. And this is an up bow. Now on the C string, down bow is very obvious and up bow is very obvious. However, on the A string, a down bow, it almost looks like you're moving your arm up for a down bow, and that could be kind of confusing. So always remember, a down bow is to the right, and up bow is to the left, okay? That almost looks like an up bow, but it's not. Down bow to the right. All right, now 4-string warm-up. Remember, we're going to start on the C string. You're going to say the bow directions first. Put your left hand right up here on the upper bout. You're going to go down, up, down, up. Now when you get to the A string, you're going to rest. You're going to tap your foot. You're going to tap your foot 8 counts because that's where the violin and the basses will play. and then you come back on the A string. Remember the repeat signs, okay? Now, you're going to move your bow in this area of your bow. You're going to set the middle of your bow on top of the strings. You're going to move a little bit down and a little bit up. So just in this middle section right here, okay? Remember, you're not going to press very hard. We don't want that scratchy sound. We want you to glide your bow like an ice skater glides over the ice. Very nice. You want to move your bow in the center of Bow Street, right in the middle of Bow Street. Where's that? Here's the bridge, here's the fingerboard. Right in the middle is Bow Street. So you want to keep your bow nice and straight, moving in the middle of Bow Street. Never ever move your bow with your elbow back. You don't want to do that because your bow will go crooked. You always want to make sure that you are moving your forearm and the top of your wrist and top of your hand, your wrist, in like a pendulum. Okay, keeping your bow nice and straight. Okay, so on the 4-string warm-up, you learned a lot of musical vocabulary. You learned that the upside down dashes are whole rests. You are not going to play. You're going to count, tap your foot. You learned what quarter notes are. You learned how long quarter notes last. You learned what repeat signs are. You learned that you are going to rest for some other students to play. You learned to move your forearm, and what you learned what time signatures were about. So actually, you are developing your vocabulary in learning the musical language. And when you do that, when you've become more confident learning your musical language, transferring and playing other instruments will be a lot easier. Music will last a lifetime and will bring you many years of enjoyment. If this video was helpful to you, please subscribe. Remember, repetition and review will make learning permanent. Thank you.